Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's episode of Storm King's Thunder, the final episode. The party has braved many dangers in their travels and in their adventures. They have delved the depths of the lost mine of Fandalvar. They have uprooted terrible giants from around the world, restoring the ordering and earning back the favor of their gods. They have stopped a great evil which was sought to ruin the world and bring about the apocalypse itself. Now, they limp away from the battlefield, armaments and riches beyond measure being presented to them from the Horde of the Dragon. One member, Zero Little, has already walked away. But tonight, we shall be asking each and every member of the group, what is the next step for their character story? Bearing in mind that this will be for a most 15-year period. This is due to the fact that we are intending at some point to begin this again, set 15 years in the future. Be this the next campaign or otherwise we run, we'll see how it goes. But for now, who would like to begin with what next for their characters? Blue, if you get it out of the way now, you don't have to do it for the rest of it.
Yo, we started this, so I'm gonna finish it.
That's fair.
Alright.
Roman
Don't drag
Omeran,
me into this with
Yo.
you.
how about you instead, my friend?
Okay. Yeah, I can start.
First
So,
chronological order.
Merritt's like the only one who is A-okay. The rest of us, bits.
mainly because I'll be dealing with my emotions later. Anyway. So, Roman Omeran is going to go and speak with with some of the Warforged. Yeah, you know how it is. Anyway, so and actually see about getting a companion to take in terms of having a creature along the lines of having basically a magnum opus, since he is basically a tinkerer as well as an alchemist, and a warforged would definitely be a best thing for a tinkerer, as they are pretty advanced, say the least.
They are highly advanced, and when willing, quite malleable to a situation.
Yeah.
They do not
So-
deal with pain in the same way, and as such, augmentations, edits, and effects can be done to them, as long as they are willing, relatively easily.
So, over the next 15 years, basically, Roman will then leave the party and travel back to Everlyn with his new Warforged friend by the name of Wittick the Reforged. And basically, in Everlyn, he will then be purchasing a shop with proceeds with the cut that he had gotten, and the shop will have been named the Sleepless Gnome. And there he basically will be spending the entirety of his time to basically devoting the rest of his time on the earth, basically to creating potions, making bits and bobs and stuff like that, as well as basically working on his magnum opus.
Ensuring Wittick is the greatest you can do.
Yeah.
You do find your donkey once again, back
Yes.
in Everland with your old shopkeeping set. The funds are not difficult to manage for you.
Yeah.
You do an original delve into your actual funds. You are, however, called away from time to time, maybe once or twice a year, to serve as emissary by Hecaton.
Yeah.
And then, after 5 years, by Cerisa, after Hecaton stands down as king of the Storm Giants.
That's
Cerisa,
I
rule
had
as queen.
thought about that, and I I had a feeling that's what was going to go. Is that basically my devotion would go down in terms of, or
You
not
You are, by title now, the major domo.
Yeah.
To the Storm King's court.
Yeah.
May I interrupt?
Go on.
He's basically a knight of that court now.
Basically, in a sense.
Yeah, you basically answer to the Storm Giant court, which sounds really, really badass.
Yeah, it's literally a thing of like, basically, if I was to be sitting in the shop, and then all of a sudden it's just, oh fuck, damn it! All right, Potion, don't you move. I'll be back.
Oh my god, I'm picturing you with the banner and everything.
Yeah, don't explain while I'm gone. Watch
Roman Nomarin, you are the Storm's herald. You are referred to on multiple occasions, and there are people who seek out Hecaton and even Stormgiant's favor, see you as a first link. You are often sent to Neverwinter. You are often sent to Guntelgrim and Citadel Felbar. Even to the High Forest, to the realm of the Wood Elves that linger there. And you serve as emissary amongst these orders. You are also an enforcer of the Storm Queen's rule, once Sarisa rises to power. And you travel between the holds of the giants and ensure that peace is kept. That there is no more war or conflict, or any matters between small folk and giants are mostly dealt on your account.
Also,
for this matter, you will be...
Oh, sorry.
For this matter, you will be dealing with other members of your party who may serve as emissaries or ruling class or otherwise for your particular events. For example, Durin Frostbrand is now the king of Citadel Felbar, and you often have dealings with him,
right,
considering he's one of your nearest souls. And you also do play a part in the restructuring and rebuilding of Ashvale. The city, small village, building to a city, southeast of Citadel Felbar, where once you knew glory, legacy, faith, and hope lived. What else, my friend?
I just wanted to say real quick. So basically, in terms of enforcing, it's not like, oh, we'll have another giant go in to enforce the strict rule of the
smallest race,
the smallest fucking thing in the entire fucking world, to send in, all right, motherfuckers, what did you do?
Just picturing the Hall of
There
the Hill
is so
Giants
much
being...
poetic justice there.
I'm just picturing, like, bear in mind, you started this campaign terrified of things larger than you.
Yeah.
And now you throw open, on occasion, the gates to the Jarl Harshnag's abode, to Duchess Cinderfell's keep, to the halls of the Hill Giants and their rambunctious bunch. It is just you throwing those doors open, this minute figure, and striding in. For you have the favor of the Storm Throne, and as such, by proxy, you have authority in these matters.
But, yeah, it's just great as knowing that. It's just like, what did you do, you little fuckers? It's just like, well, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry.
I'm just picturing, if you allow me, your Warforged throws open the doors, turns around, and there's you strapped to its back.
Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry.
They're like, who is this? Oh, no.
I imagined him strapped to the chest like one of those baby carriers.
I was more thinking of the SpongeBob episode where the massive muscle-bound warrior bursts out, turns around, and there's Patrick.
Yeah, exactly. That's great.
But yeah, during your time, you often do encounter adventurers that you send out for potions, for deals, for quests on your side. Small favors. You hear maybe of a goblin hole that's rising up that needs to be culled, or you hear of small events like that. And as a harper, you serve Everland's key Harper establishment now,
Yeah.
with the previous one having been heavily damaged in attacks.
That was kind of the other reason why I decided to stay in Everlyn, because I knew, in terms of like, oh hey, I'd be really great for the Harpers right here. You know, basically like the center point of like the world in terms of like
The
traveling.
center point of the East, essentially.
Like
You
so,
definitely are. And you do indeed have contact with Tribor as a direct result.
Yeah.
And you do keep an eye on Yatar. Every now and again you hear something going up, and this minute figure strides in and ensures that those slaves are definitely not sold off and they're given back and released.
Yeah.
Those kind of matters. Because you have just reputation alone enough sway to help ensure these matters are kept on the right side of the law.
Right.
Is there anything else, my friend?
Over the next 15 years, Roman's brain does start to slightly deteriorate in terms of just mental.
It's what you get when you don't sleep.
Mainly due to like just either not sleeping enough, even though he is basically able to not have to sleep. It basically is just like a thing of like, by the time most people see him, he's just
Yes. You would like a potion? Yes. I have a potion here.
Potion seller. God damn it. I was trying so hard not to say it.
Everyone did so well.
Seller.
Everyone did so well.
No, I was just setting it to Blue in private and watching her laugh.
I saw her shaking her head. I knew she said something.
We saw that you saw.
It's like, ah, shit, he's noticed.
also in over the time, Roman does have card games and whatnot with the Hag and a camel from time to time.
When you travel between planes and make shop deals whenever you
Yeah.
so choose.
Yeah,
Because
just hanging
sometimes you
out.
need reagents from other places.
You know, places I may not be able to go because I just don't have the ability right now.
Is that all, my friend?
Are you making the interdimensional White Lotus? What are you doing?
Maybe.
Oh my god.
But who amongst us would probably do that? I mean,
Just me. Yeah, that would be me.
I mean,
Yeah, no, it's basically that's really what Roman would do in the next 15 years.
Okay.
Basically, just working the shop and basically taking care of the Herald, being Storm Herald and whatnot.
Thank you.
It was fun.
It's been a pleasure.
All right, goodbye now.
From you.
Don't you dare.
All right, it was fun. Bye now.
Boy! You
that would
better.
be a sad way to do this stream, as if one by one we went off
Wow.
camera.
Wow,
please
that
don't
was
do that.
And it's just me at the end saying goodbye to everyone.
That's too
No.
sad. I can't deal with that.
I can't deal with that. No,
No, that would be
I've
bad.
had too much of a
Nice.
week for that.
No.
Like,
No,
all
no.
right, goodbye now.
Something I find
But-
memorable as well is your first combat encounter. You tried to control through charm person a fire giant, and now
Yeah.
you can just impose your will on any of them. You can just go right fuckers.
Yeah.
Honey,
Now then.
honey, I had a mouthful of water when you said that, and I nearly sprayed it over the monitor.
Please don't.
Please
Now then,
don't.
Zero Little, the enigmatic plague father of Faerun. What is it that you do?
I think I have learnt to forgive my past, but I don't think I will forgive my future. These were the last words that Zero said to the Moon Pigs before leaving on his journey and finding his way deep below the sands. He knew what was coming. He knew what he was going to do, what he must become. In those dark depths, he let himself go. His goal to destroy the Illithids. To accomplish this, he got some unsavory allies, to say the least. Vlad, Cloth, otherwise known as Old Snarl, the Drow, the Juragar. He made deals with those who should not be dealt with, and he paid the price. However, it was not death as you may expect, for many of them would assassinate him. But at each time this would come up, another decided they wanted to use him for a little bit longer. And with the forces of the dark, he cut his way through the Illithid. Rivers of blood ran in those dark caverns. But one day, he took a nasty blast. A magic mishap of one of his drow allies, as its mind was destroyed by an Illithid. It is no surprise in war, but to this he lost many things. Some would say this was where he lost his mind, as he was found, sat, missing an eye, and just staring at a single blue feather in his hand. The bloodied individual stood back up and continued his work. He would work like this for many years. He would become hated by many, the dwarves most of all, as many an outpost was destroyed by the Plague Father and his allies in the idea of progress against the Illithid. Eventually, however, this all took its toll. As Zero had warned of many others, one must take a break from fighting Illithids. Their mind powers are strong, even for the most strong-willed. This, however, was not what was weighing on his heart. He had committed evil deeds beyond count. He knew he did it for nature's sake, but to what end? He could not destroy a full hive of the Illithid, and they just seemed to keep coming. A kind of break was in order. His life had been risked too many times, and he still had debts to pay. So the Plague Father rose, further and further, up, until he broke into sunlight. Blinding, burning, awful sunlight. It had been so long. He watched as the sun set on the horizon, and wondered what his old friends were doing. For he knew now he could not call them allies.
Is that all that Zero Little did in his time?
Indeed.
Well,
Hated by
fuck.
many. Even those closest to him would believe that this was an alias of another. However, in their darkest days, the people of the surface would send those they trust. Individuals like Drast, like Nezanar, and they would travel to the depths and find truth to these tales, and with a heavy heart return and inform, knowing that alone they could not handle the power that the Plague Father had began to build. With intentions of good, Zero Little caused far more harm in the world than is possible, and is hunted and is hounded. But he will survive, if you can call it living. There are times where he is offered positions and places, the shopkeeper herself giving him an out. Would he have taken it, Zero Little?
He refuses. He must continue his war against the Illithid.
With a heavy heart, she would have wished him on his way. He can still find some places where he will be kept hidden and safe should he go to major settlements. Amongst his friends, perhaps, under the protection of one such as Legacy or Sildar, in the depths in the court of Cerisa. But even then, there is still the thought in the back of his mind of what he has done and what he must do to right it. Zero Little, thank you for being a fantastic, pragmatic, and irreplaceable player. It has been nothing but an utter honor.
And if I may, for being a fantastic snake bird thing.
He still hasn't met a piggy he hasn't met.
Good emotional detox. Needed that. Needed that.
And as I did with Roman in my favorite moment, I still remember when you rescued Varys Valorin and you traced after the Dragoliath. In the form of a crocodile, you leapt down into him, and your whole body took his arm until you were slammed to the ground. And in your crocodilian form, somehow you uttered the words in common, "Oh God, why?" But thank you, my friend.
It was an honor and privilege to play.
Jeez.
Now then. That changes my plans, but thank you for telling me, Kay.
Sorry, I've
You
got
were
about 2
next.
seconds.
God
I
damn
know I
it!
was.
God damn it,
I'll literally be 2 minutes. I need
We're all
We'll
gonna
wait for
stare
you to be your
intensely at
next
your
one.
We're waiting for
You
you.
can wait. I won't be very long. I won't be long.
We're all
Yeah,
gonna
for
stare
you.
intensely at Kay's camera while we all emotionally process what just happened.
Meanwhile, remember to shop at Game Tea.
Shit, well done, Nemo. You got first blood.
Yeah, you got blue. Blue's out. Blue's out of this game.
Done.
Me and Kay are somehow still alive.
First
Honey.
he's gone.
You may still meet him yet in the DLC. It may not be a welcome visit, however, but
You
you
are
may
a
still meet
trespasser,
him.
boss.
You're like Solas. Like, everyone goes
Yeah,
back to you
he
like,
is our
what the
Solas.
fuck's wrong with you?
He's
What did
literally
you do?
the evil egg of the campaign.
The evil egg.
Quick question: what color should I change the light to for Varys?
Yellow. Or
Yellow.
orange.
Gold.
If you have a gold or yellow or orange, I'd say go for the... Yeah, that might...
If-
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
There.
yeah, that
If you
color.
have
Keep
gold
that
and
tone.
gold, it's
There you
fine.
Yeah. Oh,
I have
basically
a permanent
slowly
blue light because
change
of
the
light on the
light.
webcam.
In the years that follow, you all have many great adventures. Varys, when you return to Neverwinter, your older brother and sister are there. Your mother is there. And your younger sister is there. Would you like to tell the party what are the next 15 years of your life? Under the presumption that you eventually find your father.
Yeah, the first step would be to find his father, free him from
The depths of Xanathar's
from
hold.
Xanathar's hold in Waterdeep. He would take them back to Phandalin for a short time, back to the mansion, until we possibly find a home of our own. He continued to train both in magic and martial combat. He'd install a teleportation circle in Phandalin. That'll take like a year of work, but
Takes a year of work.
the only real big thing would be to challenge Legacy to become one of the Archmages.
It takes 3 years before you feel ready to do so. And at that time, you manage to beat Legacy and rise to the position of Archmage Invocus, the same position she held. And along with that ability, that now, whenever Varys Valorin engages in battle, he may change the damage type of any of his attacks to a different damage type. Change something from psychic to force, from force to acid, and so on. This is something you may do with any of your spells. But it must be declared prior to damage being rolled.
Of course. That's the only big major thing.
Has he know when he wants to go and meet?
He'd check in with the rest of the gang every now and then, but Nothing else too major. He would try and find somewhere to settle down with his family.
Probably Fandolin, due to the size of the manor.
Yeah.
It would be more than willingly keep all of you safe and happy, and it could serve as your new home. You aid in the building of the Temple of Timora,
Yes.
from what is a simple hovel to now a grand temple. And with your guardians and guidance amongst the Harpers as well, you are often in contact with Roman of any dealings on his eastern side and your western side of Faerun. And you two serve as two higher ups amongst the order. You are essentially one rank down from the highest rank of the order. I do not have the name on hand, but I might be able to find.
Is it the Harpers?
You are both wise owls,
Yeah.
Aw.
second only to the High Harper. Every Archmage is a wise owl, but none are a High Harper. Bear in mind your ideology of creating teleportation circles for an encounter with another one of your members in the future.
Yeah.
But is that all Varys Valorant would like to do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you, Varys. It has been a pleasure and a privilege. You wily, chaotic bastard, you. I will never forget the day you did what anyone who writes a fanfic would do if they saw the opportunity to push their ship closer, and it appeared as the old lady who ran it in to come in and say someone else of a noble origin had lost all their bed sheets. You needed to take a set of bed sheets away from the 2-bedroom of Ash and Glory, resulting in them both sharing a bed.
Oh, the best moment. Oh dear.
Fenacala is indeed a very important part of Fandolin. It is when the banner is finally erected for the small town with no name, Fenacala is used as an icon.
Yeah. She takes a holiday as well, back to the Feywild, spends some time there.
Every time she comes back, she's lushed.
Get drunk with the shopkeeper again.
One time she comes back with like a pink bow in a like fur, and I'm just like, what?
She's got beads sometimes, like draped beads down her front.
Someone else has dreads. I'm like, where did you get them from?
I also met.
So Fenacala becomes Salem, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes! Sassy cat rules the world.
I was also going to say, does Fenacala have the thing of like wearing most cats as they're, getting older, they get a bit more portly in terms? Or
they're ageless because they're a familiar, but it could change on his will.
Yeah.
He comes in one day, she's got like a towel on her head and bits of cucumber. I'm having a me day.
I'm fine. And she disappears again after I summon her.
The question always remains: is Fenacala Varys familiar, or is Varys Fenacala?
In 15 years, no one has answered that question.
Mm-hmm. But from your position, Varys, you often keep an eye out. And sometime during your period, as, while definitely not the ruler of Fandolin, its most powerful citizen, and seen as one of the most reliable sources, there comes a time when there's rumors of the dead rising at Cragmaw Castle. From the times of when you fought, of Goblin and Bugbear, they seem to have risen from their previous form and taken to the world again. You may call upon your friends that time, and you may discover what happens that day in a one-shot. Yeet. Return to Cragmaw.
Yep.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Now, everyone go rainbow, because we are going to the gays.
Ah, fuck.
I can't do rainbow. Hold on.
I just dropped all my notes, everybody.
There.
Hold on.
There we go.
Green and red. Just green
Sorry, I
and
can't do an
red.
epilogue. I can't read suddenly.
To Glory,
Probe.
daughter of Legacy and Sildar, and Ashk Korriban, Thane of Gauntlegrim. What do you two do? I imagine there's something that both of you do very shortly after the events, however.
Yes.
That's a sound.
You're more literate than me, Stacey. You go ahead.
Oh sure, pass the flag.
Listen, I have
Pass that rainbow flag!
4-item list, and I imagine most of them Frog is about to say.
The way I can't necessarily blame the ear infection.
Oh shit, maybe I should do the talking.
Let me. You start, and then I'll chip in. because of course I don't know specifically what you're planning, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So we're all
Okay, so I will just read the 4 things that I wrote down. About a week ago. God damn it, guys. Numero uno. Marry Ash Korriban is item on that list number 1. Where I imagine we have the exact situation of that video of the 2 lesbians at Disneyland proposing at the same time.
Yes.
In the presence of the shopkeeper, in the presence of your mother and father, in the presence of all the friends who are still there, because you do this very early on.
I imagine so, yeah.
Yeah.
And you get married in that small little temple to Tymora in Phandalin.
Have long debates.
Demons to the left of
Ash's
me,
parents.
dwarves to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
With a bunch of giants poking their heads in from the outside. But this is definitely where you two would be wed. And it is known that half of Gauntlegrim does indeed flood out, and over 3 days travels to Phandalin.
So much for a
For
small
this.
wedding.
Harshnag is there.
Small wedding.
Harshnag is there
Harshnag
going, I told myself I wouldn't cry.
Oh yeah, no, he's sobbing. He's sobbing.
No, he's the flower girl.
Oh my god.
Ends the debate about which one of you guys is going to be Fargo. We'll just get Harshnag to do it.
Here's your problem with the flower girl. They have to walk down the aisle.
No, they can
It's
just
too
rain it
small.
on top of the temple.
That's what I mean.
I mean, yeah, that's technically what Harshnag can do.
He's got like a
He physically can't fit anything in. Like
He's
his
got-
hand doesn't fit through
he's
the door.
got like a
No.
tree and he like pinches leaves off the top and like drops them.
Shakes
He
it.
just kills the branch.
It's like we have the dude. She's planning now. Because Phandalin has that courtyard, doesn't it? The town square. I'm just imagining that there'd be sort of flower garlands tied to. For some reason, my brain went lamppost. It's medieval fantasy.
You make that
Basically-
punch.
Torchbearer.
Basically tied onto posts all the way down, and I can imagine Harshnag just walking behind Ashk and Glory, and just sort of dumping the flowers so that there's sort of very light sort of white rose petals that come down.
Okay. While you do this, we'll say that perhaps the ceremony is held outside in the courtyard, where it could be
Yeah.
more easily managed.
It's closer to nature as well. It suits for
Yeah.
Ash.
And it is a joyous time. And the bouquet is thrown, and Sildar Hallwinter catches it. And looks to it and goes, "Welp," and falls down to one knee immediately and pulls out a ring.
That's my boy.
Who does he give
That's
it to?
my dad.
The greatest plot twist of all time.
After 30 years, Sildar Hallwinter and Legacy do wed. Like the preacher says, "Well, I'm over here, you may as well."
Everybody was
Is this
there.
literally
Mamma
that
Mia.
scene in the first Mamma Mia?
It's a Mamma Mia wedding.
Yes, exactly.
Everyone was already there.
Or you could take it as well, like the scene from the second Princess Diaries, where it's like, well, Your Majesty.
I would give at the wedding. I'd give Glory and Ash just a
Goddamn,
small wrapped book. This is an instruction manual. You'll know why you've got this. When you'll know when you know. Just trust me on this.
God
I
damn it,
won't
Kay.
lie.
Yay!
Kay is causing
Or that,
chaos.
You cheeky bastard.
It is an instruction manual on how to control the simulacrum that he made of himself as a wedding gift.
Kay told me he was gonna do this, and I'm still not over it.
Who no one realised there's two Varises in the crowd.
It's very odd because one Varys has their hair up, one Varys has their hair down. And you'd be surprised how much that changes how much you look.
If I may, it comes fairly late, but a gift does come. It looks battered and like it's gone for a long trip. You don't actually see who delivers the parcel in question, but you do see the fluttering of a scarf as it goes past.
Can I just imagine like a little Bartok style bat who's that's very, very tired?
Sure, blame the bat.
No, it's definitely a
Why not
scarf, you
theory?
see, because it's yeah.
Certain messenger.
We know somebody's still working as a messenger. But
Pick it up when you
yes,
get
it's
down.
from Zero, and it is apparently, it doesn't say anything, it just says from Zero, and it is some of the finest silk bedding you've ever seen.
I'll take it. Thanks.
That's one off the wedding list.
Carrick
Say
has
this
the
as
small
well.
thing.
Just very quickly,
Jesus Christ,
because
guys.
this would have happened before. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue.
Oh,
Something old would have been the cloak Sildar wears. The lion's mantle would have been given to Glory. Something borrowed would have been a small circlet that Legacy wears, and she gives it to Ashk. And basically, your family provides the whole plethora of it, but the blues come from the Corbins. A tanned, beautiful blue bag as a gift, and then a circlet, less of a circlet and more, if you could picture a gauntlet, but it is weaved metal of a dyed blue, like almost an azure color. It's essentially like an Order of the Gauntlets gauntlet if it was just made to be in a fancy ball.
I'm gonna look like the King of the North. Hell yeah.
Yes. While there is a floating
I think you believe.
wing.
I think you mean Queen of the North. There.
Hell
Karen.
yeah.
Queen of the West, really, more than anything. But
The wicked Queen of the West. We're getting there. We're getting towards the plot of Wicked.
but floating above the entire event is indeed your sister Faith. And Hope, you didn't even know she was going to show up, but she's there, she's doing the band, nobody's stopping her.
No.
Oh my god, that would be the best party in the world.
Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Now then, that's one.
That's the first thing on my list.
Kirok organises a organised rainbow flight display of the local birds led by Huru. And
the
also,
flyover.
yeah, and also I have in my inventory, and Des can see it's in my inventory. I have a small gift of a plant pot decorated with green dragons.
Aw.
Don't ask me where I got it, but I got it, and I was like, I know what I'm hanging onto this for.
The most Kirok
I-
gift to ever gift. I don't
I
know where
wanna
I got
say
it, but it's cool.
I want to say in pure Kirok form, the green dragons she painted on herself.
The entire thing is made of jade. It's
Yep.
an item. It's an item I got from adventuring. I didn't go and buy it. I got it from
Yep.
adventuring.
Yep.
I've had it in my inventory for several months.
I will
Yep.
have to look through the notes and see if I can find where that's from, because that's old.
It's made
Well,
of
that
jade.
is
It's solid,
old.
made of jade, and is decorated with green dragons. And I
Question,
gifted
Blue.
answer.
Do you still have the jade frog? It was a frog with emerald eyes.
It has golden eyes.
Oh.
Item number 1 in Kirok's inventory, a small jade statuette of a frog with tiny golden orbs for eyes.
Were you found in Cragmaw Cave? Your first ever dungeon.
My first ever
And
treasure.
Ashk didn't even exist then.
No, she was there for that. She was there for that part.
Was she?
When you went into the Cragmaw
She
Cave, you were.
wasn't. This was session 1. Literally session 1. I've got it written down.
You guys had you guys had your encounter
We had
outside, and then
we're not
after
gonna talk
that,
about
she
TPK.
came up to the sound of combat. Then she came to the sound of
session
combat in
2
the
or 3.
second 2, and then she fell in the river.
Ah, yes. The glorious beginnings.
Yeah.
Now then,
But still up on
back
Tumblr.
in.
Roman, as a wedding gift, will hand you to an envelope, and in it is one free potion of whatever you want. In terms of if you have a specific potion that you want made, he will make it at no cost to you.
I may make a suggestion that there might be 2 potions that get made.
Well, yeah, and in terms of basically for each of them, but that's
Which one
what
is free?
Why won't I get one free?
Buy one get one free.
yeah.
Okay. The other shit on my dumb list
It's
that
on
I
a
came
dumb
up with.
list.
Well,
No.
what I came up with when I was emotionally distressed. 2 was specifically murder counter-sensory, retrieve Varys's father, and whatever else the party needs doing.
These are events for one shots,
Yes, I know.
and we will presume that they get completed.
Yes.
Because while these are
Uh,
going to be adventures of fun, I don't imagine them taking you out.
Yeah, but then that was just what was on there, and then 3 is. It says, and I quote, "Get a full night's sleep without having to wear armor."
Wedding night.
No, wedding night, you do not sleep. First night of the honeymoon. They do.
There we go.
Where'd you go on your honeymoon?
I don't know. Are we chill enough to go anywhere? I don't even know.
If anything,
Many allies who would allow you or grant you a safe passage to many places.
I would have imagined Ashk would have preferred to have a stay-at-home honeymoon or something like that. But
Honestly,
that's the
same.
sort of person she is.
Like
Say
we've
that.
Sorry,
done
I don't
enough
have
of
time
that
to go on holiday.
We can say that for your honeymoon, that you spent half of it in Neverwinter and half of it in Gauntlegrim.
That
Now
works.
stage 4.
The last one, and I'll just read exactly what I wrote down, is follow Ashk wherever she may go, fight any of the fights she does, start a family with her, and be by her side for as long as she has breath in her body.
By the will of the DM, and the fact that you are grandchild to a demon prince, you one hell of a lifespan. You last as long as your heart lasts.
Which is a fucking long time.
You two gonna live a while.
Yeah.
A bit.
You're gonna get fed up with me before I die.
But
No.
here comes
Would
a
you
very
bet?
important question.
This is the weird thing, is that dwarves can live up to more than 100 years.
Up to 400 easily.
Up to 400.
That's old man. That's old man dwarf Jenkins.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if Ashka actually managed to get to level 17 as a pally, she actually will probably look the way that she does for a very, very long time. Because she doesn't actually, she can't magically age, or something
She
like
Looks
that.
youthful for quite a long time.
Yeah,
Glory does not.
Glory doesn't, but Glory is like her mother and carries a dignity with her step.
yeah.
And looks badass with my hair.
Level 15, you suffer none of the drawbacks of old age and can't be aged magically.
We will say, though, for the sake of aesthetic and design, that Ashik's blondish hair will begin turning white in the braids and slowly wraps up one by one. But a very important question: a family.
Mhm.
Roman
Over to you, Frog.
Roman Omerin, if you are willing, potions of love are things you are aware of, and you could craft one for both of them. One is of a receiver, and one is of a giver.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been the other part of the wedding gift.
Mm-hmm.
It would basically be, so here's 2 potions for whatever, and here's 2 love potions. There you go. Have a good one.
Frog, do you want to
Beautiful
take
wedding,
over
by
the
the way.
part?
Beautiful.
No, all I'm thinking now is, oh god, I've got a terrible brain. Roman being the best man and just handing this over to both the bride and groom.
Like,
And at the end of the
can we
night,
have the ring? Potions. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Rings.
Why the fuck would I say potion?
Ring.
I thought you said potion. What the fuck? I said potion.
Too many vines. Too many vines.
I will tell you who will have the rings on a big fluffy pillow from his mom's house. Carp Alderleaf.
Oh, yes.
baby.
Who over the next 10 to 15 years will travel between Neverwinter and Phandalin and Gauntlegrim when he can, trying to train and learn under Glory.
Oh.
And Ash, who knows. But
Glory
back
will
to you
repeatedly
two.
remind him this is a bad idea, but do it anyway.
Ashk,
Mhm.
tell us of the child's and your future in that regard.
Both Glory and Ash have a daughter together, whom they name Gwyn. Gwyn's born incredibly pale and ever so slightly furred. But unlike Glory's lineage, whereby they have strong, solid tails, this child is born with a very thin, cow-like tail with a furred tip. It's presumed that it's something from Ashka's dwarven heritage, but no one is entirely sure about it. The child grows up in a very, very warm but sheltered family life, and is a very dreamy, very, very, very introverted child. Eventually, I think we decided a bard, didn't we, girls? Did we
Probably.
decide- I think we decided a bard. And she eventually becomes very, very bookish and so on. But she will always notice something that nobody else will usually notice. May it be some random fairy that's sitting on someone's shoulder, or maybe she will see some sort of invisible thing that she's not entirely sure from what books she's read up about it, or whether even that thing actually exists. After some time, according to family tradition, Gwyn is granted the virtue name of Muse, which matches both her very dreamy, otherworldly personality, as well as her ability to inspire others with her unusual tales.
Is that all both of you would like to have done in your time?
I suppose. Keep an eye on all these motherfuckers as much as we can.
Not difficult to do.
We
But I will
did-
say,
We did have, for lack of a better term, musings of Gwyn sort of visiting Uncle Varys and sort of studying under him for a little bit.
The doors are always open for any of the family members.
to continue, Neverwinter and Gauntlegrim are two cities that are quite far apart. However, with this union of both noble houses, Gauntlegrim and Citadel and Neverwinter work on a road between the Neverwinter woods, and as such, a connection between both lands, both kingdoms. And dwarves and humans have a solid and hearty friendship once more, the likes of which have not been seen since the time of the mine of Fandalvar. Both Ashk and Glory serving as emissaries in this regard. Defendants, confidence, and they are an example that love is more powerful than anything else in this world. Their child grows well, healthy, and happy. And there are times where assassinations are attempted. Darkness plagues the world. However, these events never even reach Ashk or Glory. Always there is a black arrow in the back of whatever would-be assassin, or remains left mauled in the Neverwinter woods. But between Neverwinter and Gauntlegrim, none are able to threaten them. It is at this time, with Glory's energetic, determined, and otherworldly self, that she refuses to ever just be still, always thirsting for the next part of the war and the next bit of adventure to protect those people. From Gauntlegrim to Citadel Felbar it is crafted, of pure adamantite, with gold and ruby designs. The righteous hand, presented to Glory as she takes that position in the Order of the Gauntlet. For Ashk Korriban, she has been many things. Child of two worlds, child of two gods, mother, and loved friend. Temples to Sylvanas are built between and during Neverwinter and Gauntlegrim. In the forests of Neverwinter Wood, many are found strewn about, and there are rumors that Sylvanas himself has indeed walked those woods in these recent years. Ashk Korriban has often walked those glades as a warden, even in the depths of winter. She has earned the title amongst the Emerald Enclave as the Winter Stalker, both title and rank. And she has taken that position from one of the associate dwarf rangers of Gauntlegrim, who was retiring in that time. During these older years, within Neverwinter, Sildar Hallwinter begins to retire. But he needs someone he can trust to stand in position while he takes his older years. Still seen as a king, as he is ruler, he wishes someone else to serve as his second, which he does in the form of Glory. Would Glory have accepted this position?
I'm not sure she would.
Ooh.
It is an offer, nothing more.
You give it to Faith.
Faith would take it and serve
Or he's
as
tired.
guardian and champion to both realms. But Glory and Ashk, you are not, unfortunately, left to peace. There are times where darkness begins rising up from the depths, and you do descend into those holes, and you carve a bloody swath through whatever horrors, be they drow, Duragor, or drakeling, that ever rise up. They are put down. Glory has earned the name in these years, especially from her time amongst giants, as Titan's Bane. For no matter how mighty the foe is, she can bring it down. And Thane Ashk Korriban, who has nurtured and tempered the two very different worlds of nature and civilization, earns the title of the Wild Matron. Thank you both. This has been a wonderful campaign. my favorite moments from both of you. Glory. It is very early on. It is when you fight against the
You have miscalculated your
bugbears.
hit points.
It is very early on during your battle to defend Phandalin from an attack of goblins and bugbears, where the village is being burnt, the outskirts of it, and you see a family trapped inside. Who else but the brave, stalwart Glory charges in, under a spear and arrow fire, and frees and protects the family, cutting a bloody swath through the foes that lay before her.
Thank God for fire resistance.
And for Ashk Korriban, you've had many moments, but my favorite will probably be the most important for this entire campaign. The death blow of Imrith, the doom of the desert. With a thunderous stroke, you ended this campaign. And for those who don't know, 2 years, nearly 3, this campaign was began, and someone joined on the second session. I wouldn't know it then, but that person has now become someone who is my life partner. Stacey Jenkins, Ash Korriban, Ragnajar. That's the power of D&D. Thank you, sweetheart.
No.
Let them all have one last one.
To be honest, Han, and I can actually say that because he's admitted it.
Admitted, as if it wasn't obvious.
This is my girlfriend.
Well, he's actually announced it live on the stream. You know what I mean. To be honest, Han, we need to thank you for actually managing to keep us all going.
Trying.
Trying
To herd us all into this campaign and actually running it for nearly 3 years.
We'll save those for the end, however, because there's one last hurdle.
Someone else has to fuck us up yet.
Oh boy.
Kira.
Ooh.
God.
What is the ending, or what is the beginning of a new story for Kirok and Tian?
Well, to start, Kirok and Tian stay with the group for a while. They help with all of the loose threads that everybody has, including their own. Eventually, after thinking about it for a long time, the pair of them step forward and admit that they feel ready to go and face Countess Sansari. And we shall see how that goes, I'm sure. Eventually, the two decide to fly back to the Grey Peaks, the Grey Peak Mountains where the pair of them were born and raised, and where both of them eventually left, against their own will. And they work together to restore the old village where they lived. Eventually, through some magical assistance, they reopen the portal to the plane of air that was formed there. And through it, various people begin to migrate into the village. More Aarakocra begin to enter back into Faerun, plus a few of the more unusual inhabitants of the plane, some of them under the guise of more common folk. And so the village begins to grow and to spread into something larger. Kirok eventually assumes the role of her former mentor and becomes the leader and the elder of the village/town, Tian by her side. And the couple maintain a respectful and friendly relationship with Samoshi and the shopkeeper. The pair frequently visit, and they themselves receive visits from them, and are essentially a lord and lady almost for the pair of them. Samoshi frequently, quite half joking and half seriously, offers Tian position as a high commander for his army, which Tian politely refuses every time he is asked. Though there is the thought that if anything dire did happen, he would probably step up to the post, if needs be. The two frequently visit everybody. Teleport circles are set up, and they go to see everyone. The Valorins, whoever's name gets taken out of the
Kuraban.
couple. Kuraban.
Glory doesn't have a surname, she has one now.
There you go then, the Kurabans. And other friends.
The Nomarans.
Yes. Having to get used to essentially almost being a person of status, in a way, with these titles that are presented to her. And really, to a few people's surprise, really, it takes several years, and there are no updates. They continue to visit, they continue to say that the town is starting to grow into more of a city. Trade is good. People are well. And everything else is quiet. And then there's a couple of months where they decide not to visit anymore. But the messages still come. They send letters and talk. But suddenly they're not visiting anymore. And then eventually the pair of them do visit. They go to the Korribans. And Kirak has a strange pouch tied to her front. It's filled with feathers. And inside nestles one single egg. The shell glitters and sparkles. The pair of them don't really have much to say. It took some time for them to work towards this. They had certain trauma to work out between them. With the help of Glory and Ashk, the pair are convinced to tell everyone else, and the news is spread. There is much excitement. But the pair of them have a private hatching when they know the time is right, and they completely drop off the map for only a week or so. But it is a smooth hatching. There are no complications. There are many tears. The baby is small and fluffy, her feathers fluffed out in a pale purple. That shimmer of gold on the shell is present in her feathers. And though the pair of them don't know it, some people are watching. Not that they're aware.
It is at this time when it is discovered that a child has been born between Tian and Kirak, that Samoshi brings a gift. Another egg. This one far larger, with a brass shell, to serve as guardian and devotion to the new city that has been built underneath Kirak and Tian. Phoenix Rise. As well as more than enough funds to ensure that the city is not only rebuilt, but could be built 100-fold. It comes to a stage where the infant is to a year's age, where Samoshi's grandfather, for the first time in 1,000 years, actually steps on the material plane. And after a happy feast with those of Phoenix Rise, gives a blessing of a kiss to the head of the child of Kirak and Tian. That child will have the lucky feet.
Oh.
There are other gifts. Other things are sent your way. Doesn't take long for one thing, as you mentioned eggs. I forgot to mention, but was very important. After the events where Legacy and Sildar, after Glory and Ashk are wed, Sildar personally travels to each one of you that he can find, except for Zero. Ashk and Glory get 2. Everyone else gets 1 griffin egg.
Yes.
From the brood of Kronos and Legacy's griffin that she never uses because she always prefers to ride on the back of both Sildar and Kronos. So.
Aw.
But yes, griffin eggs are given. They would take 5 years to grow to decides to be able to allow anyone to ride them, and are essentially the equivalent of having a goddamn Tibetan Mastiff that can fly.
Yes. Excellent.
Until
I
they
would
go
also
to full
like a
age.
better mastiff. Side note.
They get
You
many
can find-
dogs. Many dogs.
You get many dogs.
With wings and feathers and
Optional.
They're actually birds. They're just birds, basically.
Yeah.
But Kirok,
Bird dogs.
several things are also given to you in a black envelope left outside of your home's door to a knock. But you see no one, and you instinctively perform your see invisibility to see a hooded familiar figure walking away. Inside, there is vial after vials of antitoxins, anti-poisons, potions of cure disease, and a small letter and a sending stone. If you are ever needed, if your child needs anything, use it. Nezinar, the Black Spider. It is also to be said that there isn't a single one of you whose child is not looked after by Harshnag. He demands to see them.
Oh god, that reminds me of what I sent to Curls, which I didn't say.
Go on.
Which is the fact that she has to deal with Kirok kicking down her door, clutching a pile of pillows, feathers everywhere, going, "This is how you make good nest for baby!"
For some reason, in her old age, becomes Russian.
why are all our children pastel coloured?
Oh,
I don't know.
she's only pastel when she hatches. As she ages, her colours deepen.
All our children are carbonated. I don't.
Well, you see, Woodtick has got the ability to change his form in terms of color,
Nice.
just like I have my light.
He's literally
Yeah, just.
all of you who have a child receive a cradle made from a mammoth tusk, bedded with very, very fine feathers from Harshnag, but filled originally with everything he presumed you need. Foods, more baby foods, anything he thinks that a baby could need was put in there.
Best uncle.
Aw.
And the Jarl of the Frost Giants does indeed travel quite often atop his mighty airship, flying about the world as a guardian and an ambassador, serving as a champion for Waterdeep and for his people. But Kirok, Blue, this campaign wouldn't have started without you.
Stop.
Quite
It's
literally.
true, though.
It is.
I
Let me
didn't know,
finish.
Das.
You wanna, Kels, you wanna play D&D? I know someone who knows how to DM. Hey, Das, I've got some friends that wanna play D&D. Got some characters in mind for them. Do you wanna run a
Do
session?
you want to take a break from?
Take a break
running
from
Blood and
homebrew?
Sand?
We can run a
to make-
pre-run one. They haven't played D&D before, so maybe the starter campaign could be fun.
Lost Minds of Fendelvar.
Yeah, that completely homebrew free campaign.
Yeah, no homebrew at all.
Hey,
Nothing
hey,
added
Dad,
in
hey,
at all.
Dad, I don't know if it's okay, but we got a friend who's interested in joining. I don't know if you know her, but I think she'd like to join us and play as well, if you'll let her.
Hi, Daz. I would like to join your game.
I'll be a wizard. Can I have a sword?
For your birthday, I gave you a sword.
Give you a
Give a
sword.
plot device. But,
Daz,
yeah.
can I guest character on your game?
Yes.
Robin,
I
do you wanna
promise
come
not-
in?
Hey,
I'll pay
Daz, I don't have enough D&D anymore. Can I join?
Sure, you can come in for like 1 or 2 sessions.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yep.
But thank you, my dear, dear friend. We've had many great moments in all of our campaigns. Great from some perspectives. My favorite for you, I can't pick. I sincerely can't pick. You've had moments of
The Sky Has Layers is up there. It's up
you've had
there.
moments of eccentricity, moments of kindness, moments of ferocity. But I think, whilst I love every aspect of Kirok, the aspect I love the most is, even as harmed and as pained as she is still a being of kindness. She is still a good soul. She will allow anyone a chance of redemption. She will allow anyone a chance to make right their wrongs. She is a peacekeeper, and she is beloved by many, and will be for as long as she remains on this material plane. Both her and Tion can grow old and happy. However, in their later years, when age is beginning to creep in, the offer is generously extended by Samoshi to go to the airplane, where, for beings touched by the plane, age doesn't matter, where visits are allowed quite frequently. And for your child, at every birthday, there is a small, in design of, essentially, if you remember the wrappings from Lord of the Rings for Lampus bread kind of design, small little trinkets, gifts, and crafts, dolls and toys are left outside your door in a leaf wrapping every year. Thank you so much, Blue. From the bottom of my heart. Now there are other matters to attend to. Because these aren't the only ones getting married and having kids. Very shortly after, as we explained, Sildar Hallwinter and Legacy both do marry. It is a moment of joy and happiness, and it takes 2 years before, to each of your doors individually, but not very shortly one after the other, beginning with the Korribans, then to Kirok, and then to the others, Legacy appears personally, that she's expecting twins, and asks Kirok to be the godmother. Would Kirok accept?
I think she'd be shocked. But I think she would.
She has 2, funnily enough, not pink tieflings. The colors of the tieflings can be decided by if they are ever played by a player. As color is not association, it's just by chance. I decided originally we'll keep them red, but it's by chance that they're all the same colorings. But yes, 2 half tieflings, much like Legacy, are born. Much like Glory, excuse me. And Glory does have siblings that are 33, 34 years younger than her. She has a kid that's older than her aunt. But they rule over Neverwinter, and eventually they're trusted by all but Yatar, and Sildar is appointed king of the Ten Towns, with legacy as Lady of the Ten Towns, for she's not the queen. The queen of the Ten Towns is a position held by a different form, the Lady of Waterdeep, who, while she does not appear often, it is seen that she does have a younger child follow her in her later years, of deep blue skin. She went full bodyguard, I'm just saying.
Well,
Love potions work. Potions of love, excuse me. But Sildar develops ties with all dwarven cities, uniting them with the humans. Sildar also works towards the elves of the High Forest and ensuring that they are at ease and willing to trade and make deals with his people. He then goes to the Draarwood, to the Moonwood near Ironslag, and while the Fire Giants are willing to cooperate under Cinderfell, he then makes dealings with the Moon Elves there. And over the next 15 years, Sildar works relentlessly, tirelessly, and he ensures that Faerun is a united force, not just by small folk, but by giant kind as well. When dangers arise, it is a united force that faces them, with Sildar to the helm, even as he goes older and older. He makes ties and great friendships with Durin Frostband, king of Citadel Felbar, and often has many great dealings in the House Korriban, which the poor matron and paternal rulers of that small hold begin panically, frantically working for dinners, realizing that a king and queen are on their way for meal. But their ties are good. He appoints his stepdaughter, Faith, as commander of the forces of Neverwinter. They also then work to handle the issue of Helm's Hold, a nearby fortress of fanatical people who believe that any of a variety of half-orc, tieflings, anything that has even the slightest hint of chaos must be treated as a threat. These words turn to conflict, and Gauntlgrim aids in this matter. Helm's Hold, while taken, there are casualties. However, Helm's Hold is then repurposed, and it is there where Sildar has no choice but to, due to the actions therein, remove Rockfen from his position as their position as his lieutenant, banishing them to Helm's Hold. The reason for this was something not overly clear to the public, and Sildar himself does not speak often of it. But it is less of a banishment and more of a gift. Think to Lord of the Rings, as Faramir was banished instead, was not banished, but instead was given the forests around Gondor. A loyal knight who served him was willing to kill other knights to protect him. Aragorn banished him to those woods, and so he served under his beloved lord. It is a similar essence in this regard. Helm's Hold becomes the Hold of Rockfen, and the first and the only true high-quality engineering school in all of Faerun, where those who wish to learn the arts of tinkering crafts between all races can go. Young humans like an individual named Flint, others like Pinter Spasselsborg, they become high-ranking members among this organization, a new organization to build into the world. Warforged come to there and learn many traits. As I've mentioned before, Storm King Hecaton stands down and allows his daughter, Sarisa, to become queen, with him as an advisor, with her uncle Uthor as an enforcer. Harshnag takes over Jarlship of the northwestern side of the world, a small place called Svadborg, near the Sea of Moving Ice in the northwest, close to Icewind Dale. He serves as a guardian of those great and difficult realms, and fights tirelessly to ensure that humans and giant folk live in peace. Citadel Felbar begins setting up a new trade with Ironslag, and if not for the aid of Ironslag on many an account and the direct interference of Cinderfell, Citadel Felbar may have fallen from within on 3 accounts. All the grudges from those great books that the Fire Giants had, and indeed the Stone Giants too, are stricken away, due to their kindness and dedication between themselves. Ashvale is built anew, and is a lovely, beautiful little city just outside of Citadel Felbar, but under its constant protection. There are other things that happen in the world that you have not been a part of, but there are some that you have. South of Tribor and Yatar, slave trade and taking from depths by drow begins to escalate. However, before the events even reach your ears, they are met and handled with. For in the Desarian Hills and the Somber Hills, packs of lycanthropes have been spotted. But they do not attack, instead hunting the wilds and trading in their human skins with the villages, all under the careful, always vigilant eyes of the pack leader, Gregor. There are many times where evils of the world and the depths attempted to rise up and take back the surface world. Mind flayers, drow, Dirigar. There are even moments where Cloth attempts to cause chaos. But none of these reach the surface. Always they are defied at the last moment or at the first hurdle. Something prevents them, something stops them, something tricks them. It is learnt after a while that Nezanar has taken the position again as Black Spider. But where once he was a bane of all things good, now his name is spoken in whispers in the halls of the Drow, in that of the Duragar, in fear. And those kin who would so seek to ruin the surface world find him at every foil, be he directly influencing or guiding adventurers on these tasks. Places like Phandalin he often takes a chief care to. And whilst he never directly interferes with your lives, there are moments where something may have happened and they are prevented. A child may have fluttered too far away or wandered off without your awareness. It's always immediately guided back. Eventually, Nezanar may very well find a family of his own, but that is not for you to know. Noanar's Hold, a small keep that you may recall had a issue with the damned and dead, is rebuilt, refurbished, and the evils of that place are cast out. It is now a comfortable trading post, and it is indeed used by Sildar as a emissary place between him and the High Forest. the stone giants do their best to rebuild what has been lost. Many cloud giants come, firstly to Hecaton and then to Sildar, offering their forgiveness from the acts of one of their rulers. And they serve as guides and scryers to the magical worlds. But these are all events that transpire in the next 15 years. At the very least, the world is safe. The world is at peace. The world is happy. And you are at a much-deserved rest. My beloved moonpigs. My defenders of Faerun. Believe me when I say, from the very bottom of my heart, that this here, has been the most fun and unforgettable time I've ever had. It has been irreplaceable, and I think Curls, because she wasn't doing anything for a while, actually popped that into AFK.
Bring it back again.
What a
There you-
time to get moved to the
Yep. Yep.
Whoops.
That's where
I'm
everyone
leaning on
immediately
my
begins
phone.
frantically moving about the thing, like, don't put me in AFK.
I had to remove the drama from the situation. It was vital.
How far we've come. How far a few years can take you. But I'm a better person because of this campaign. We've all learned, we've all laughed, we've all loved, we've all cried. But we've all had fun.
And kick some butt.
And you kicked much a butt.
I'm better for having known you.
But before Das tries to wrap this up too much, can we all thank Das for his amazing
Yes!
DM work?
Yeah.
Yes!
I think
Putting up with us for 3 years.
I think I speak for
Every week.
all of us for saying that this could not have been done by anyone else. You are the
No.
best DM, the perfect DM. I wouldn't want anyone else to have done this for us.
You managed to herd us via a job
Yep.
For 3
That's
years.
people.
Three
for 3
years.
years.
3
Yep.
years of our life that we have been
And
together.
now we're not
for
easy to
this.
deal with.
No, that's
We
mostly
are
you,
not.
Zero.
This is blatant K erasure.
He's chaotic, but he's chaotic in the Fey way. Zero is like a bomb.
Evil.
Kay just makes him chaotic and gay. He's a bomb. There's a difference. Kay is a glitter bomb, he's a hand grenade. Both chaotic, one does something else. Very different.
On a grenade,
That's-
see?
You did an amazing job, and there are too many favourite moments, even from you, for me to
Yep.
even express. Like, letting me drop a sphere in the dwarven holds to crush a whole bunch of Duragar, or
Allowing
your
you to
face
pinball.
or your face when I realised that I could use the giant potion to increase the size of my shape change. It's just,
Yep.
it's just all of it brilliant.
Well, we've heard
well done
we've heard
all
your
round.
highlights, Das. What about everyone else? I'm quite a fan of Varys teleporting to the back of a dragon mid-flight. That's gonna go down.
This is going to be a
in
compilation
history.
of times I nearly had a heart
Definitely
attack.
a highlight.
Yeah.
I think the sky has layers is also going to go down in history
Oh yeah, definitely.
as possibly one of the greatest quotes of all time.
That is now a phrase in Faerun for when someone eats too many shrooms. The sky is layers, man!
I mean, you're forgetting possibly your other best quote of all time, which is, "It's either fight or flight, and I'm already in the air."
That was a good
I
one.
think of maybe once a week.
The best hero
That was
moment is
another good
definitely
one.
our arrival in Thunder Tree. The
I
dive
was the
bomb.
only session I've ever missed.
Oh god, yeah, my intentional fly into the ground
Yeah,
when I saw
absolutely.
Venom Fang in the distance, and Das was like, "You're gonna need to break," and I was like, "I don't break." And I nearly knock myself out from doing so.
Oh dear.
Was it 1 HP?
One
Another
HP.
one of my favourite moments, and it's sort of a Glory and Das thing, is that whole situation with Glory's past and allowing us to actually go into her dreams.
Yeah.
I think that's
Pain
all
to set up.
Kills' stuff.
Do you know
I think
what?
that's
No, because this is the crazy thing. That whole, most, like 89% of Glory shit started from I had to pick I was like, I'll just pick a random flaw from the handbook for my alignment thing because I can't think of one. It was something to do with like a tyrant must not be allowed to oppress people or something. And I was like, it doesn't mean anything. I just kind of pick one at random. And Das was like, oh really? And 2 weeks later, I had this whole thing. So that was Das, really.
Yeah, and Das did the same for me, where I said at the very start of The Lost Mines of Phandalin, having read through the monster manual and learning that Aarakocra's sworn enemies are gargoyles, I said that her village got attacked and destroyed by gargoyles, and then when Storm Kings came around, the information came to light of there was somebody else there.
And although Rabs isn't here, I'd also like to give a shout out to him and just his many fantastic moments that saved our butts so many times.
Definitely. Like
When the most terrifying member of your party flies in on the back of a giant fly.
yeah.
yeah.
But at the same time, we can't forget simple downtime moments like Roman cooking the best meal we've had in our entire lifetime in the form of black dragon steaks cooked to perfection.
I still need to do that shit.
And of course the time that
Nobody's gonna get the joke, but still.
And of course the time that the entire party, except Kirok, tried to have shots and get drunk, but that particular beverage was not alcoholic, and Kirok was very confused.
Ah, yes. God, I'm trying to think, but my brain is going into shutdown.
There's too many moments, because there are too many memories, because this entire thing has just been one wonderful memory.
Yeah.
To be honest, some of my favorite, at least for basically just Das giving me the options to do these things,
Yes, very much.
was definitely the whole thing with Cthulhu and just the fact of like, oh, also, because it is the end of the session, and girls, you should probably know this.
Yes.
I may have given the secrets to making more of you away.
God damn it.
In terms of like infusing a person with a demon.
God damn it.
Oh.
If
But
Glory
it gave me
knew,
finger of death.
if Glory knew, she'd punch her, but she doesn't. So we'll live in ignorance.
Yeah.
Living
But yeah,
blessed ignorance.
So it was fair trade, people, demons.
The morally
Finger of
dubious
death.
end I expected from you.
Yeah.
Yes, it's good. And so, I want to say one more time, thank you, Das, for making this possible.
Yeah.
Good.
Great.
And whatever happens in the future.
Whatever comes, let it come. We'll be ready for it.
And now we all talk, so the blue doesn't have to end the stream, and therefore
However,
it continues on forever.
I would say this now. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for being here, each and every one of you. This has been an utter pleasure on my behalf. To explain why this is a big moment for me. I have never in my life been able to raise my hand and say I've completed something other than a game. I've never been able to say I've been through something from one end to the other. And I can say that for this. I have completed something with all of you. Thank you for bringing me along. This has been a true pleasure. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And with that, with a very struggling to keep it choked up away,
Hold on, we're almost there.
I would like to end the session there. Thank you all so much for watching. We will let you know through social medias what is the next step of our adventure. Currently, the two most likely encounters are either a Curse of Strahd campaign, in which Zero DMs, God help us all,
Seriously.
or a continuation of this 15 years in the future.
But who knows?
Who knows?
Whatever we decide on, it won't happen for a few weeks. We will probably do
Yes,
some
we're taking a short break.
intermediary one-shots in the meantime. So we will keep you posted on that.
Probably October at the earliest. Some point.
Yeah, it's going to be
Yes.
a month-ish.
Thank you all so much for watching. Good night. Happy gaming. And we love you all.